And welcome to How to Be Friends with Dave and Shawn. We'll see how that entrance fires off because we're in the middle of a heat wave here in the Northwest. It's 90 degrees. That's a heat wave. Hi, Shawn.
Hi, Dave.
It's delicious, delicious. So yeah, there's a small chance that my computer could overheat during this podcast sitting on a baby shark blanket and heat in the Northwest that we're not used to. But first, I'd like to tell you about our sponsor, the subscription box. That's right. The
It's
new
a
company
it's a
provides
box
you.
that sends you options for different subscription boxes.
That's correct. Each month, a different subscription box. I, I actually, you don't know the depth of how many subscription boxes there are out there, Shawn. It's not around anymore, but because I was thinking of gifts for my son Sam, who loves chewing gum, I looked to see if there was a chewing gum subscription box. Sure enough, it did not survive. It was not a business model that was sustainable, but it existed for some time. There was chewing gum subscription box.
I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of audiobooks. In every podcast, there's a subscription box in there somewhere, usually for food.
Uh-huh. Freshly
Starting,
what
it'll
have you.
be $8.99 a meal.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a bunch of stuff this week, and I just ate what I assume was more than a pound of beef in what was called a zombie double burger. So I'm ready for this. So what we need to talk about for those of you who are tuning in, we got the van life thing coming up. We've got our good friend Colonel Sutherland being hilarious. We got the 556 versus the 762 country music, and our first troll I'll need to thank. And
F your van life bullshit, by the way.
we're going to get right to that.
Yeah,
And
please do.
scientists calculating the maximum possible age a human can reach. We'll get back to that. But first, how is your Memorial Day, Shawn? A veteran who had to work on Memorial Day. Yep.
Yeah. In memory of all those that have given their life for our great nation, I sold brake pads. So.
And you did a lot of online training. I was impressed by that.
Yeah, I did. Apparently, our ball joints are girthy.
As they should be. Let's keep your ball joints girthy out there.
Keep your ball joints girthy.
As it should be. Okay, so I'm actually going to say this. Thank you, all you millennials and Gen Z people out there, for making the van life a thing. If not, I don't think passenger vans would still exist.
That and all you people with YouTube channels who are like, van life, you live off the grid, you keep it simple with your $70,000 van. Yeah, okay.
There's a good chance, I want to preface the conversation on this with this. There's a good chance that one of my friends in my unit might listen to this podcast who's considering the van life. You and I have had sufficient discussions surrounding your van life choice that I'm just going to make the fun out of van lifing any way I want because, it's cool. So
if you choose to, if you're like, I'm going to live in a van and I'm going to travel the country, then I think that's awesome because that's one step below being retired in a motorhome.
Yeah. And to be fair,
that's cool. And honestly, if you can live that life and that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine. But when you're working a 9 to 5 and you're like, I'm going to escape for the weekend in my van, just go rent a cabin for God's sakes. Or pack a tent. If you were to the point where I can't go camping without taking a miniature house with me, you're not camping anymore.
Correct. Furthermore,
that's why I don't get to camp with anybody I know.
Shawn,
I know you would pack it in with me, and my buddy we used to pack it in a couple miles. Anything we could carry on our back. But everybody
Yes.
I know now is like, it's kind of warm this time of year.
Or they're doing the wonderful thing about you paying what, like a couple grand to put your tent on top of your Jeep?
Yeah, actually, that's really expensive. Hey, get this, the tent folds up and you can put it inside the Jeep.
It's amazing. Really amazing.
That's my next project. I'm going to go buy the steel and weld a roof rack. And we were talking about that, is putting a fold out platform on it. There's no way I'm putting a tent on it.
Right. Okay.
But it gets to the point where I'm going to rough it just becomes, I have so much money to throw at this problem.
Now, I want to be clear about this point as well. Okay. Your Instagram life is not your real life. We know that you're not doing all of that camping for those beautiful pictures of those picturesque places. 90% of the time, you're day drinking. I know it.
Yeah.
So you're getting into that. You're climbing a ladder drunk to get out of a tent hungover. I know what's going on here. This is why SAR has to exist.
It is astounding to me the amount of people I meet that have expensive vehicles with so much high-tech equipment on them, and they're like, "Hey, where's my cigarette outlet fuse?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're the kind of person on Facebook who's like roughing it."
Yeah, no.
Out here in the boonies. But I absolutely support if you want to. Like I would, like if I could go buy a Transit 350 tall roof and convert it and travel,
that'd be a thing.
Freaking absolutely. And my parents have a 26-foot motorhome that just collects dust.
Right.
And they could use it any time, but the difference is because they're normal human beings and my father has to work, you can't.
Correct.
So this whole Instagram, Facebook, out in the outdoor, it's all bullshit.
It is. I enjoyed my time with the travel trailer. I want to make the distinction that my travel trailer cost me exactly $16,000, and even though I had to get rid of it as a result of certain amazing people doing
Which
amazing
is an
things,
astounding amount of money for a travel trailer.
Like high or low?
Like I bought mine used for like $3,000.
Oh, and to be fair, I would not. That was just me. I just didn't want to touch a used travel trailer because I'm not good with problems like you.
I don't blame you one bit. Yeah.
But to that point, okay, I will say I even got used to the travel trailer on orders. I told you about things like that.
They're awesome.
Now I got some static in some cases with that, and one of the nice things about the van life thing would be that if you wanted to just stay in your vehicle rather than being put up in a hotel or being put in barracks somewhere. And no one can say, well, you can't stay in your car because it's right there.
Yeah, well, I do remember one time on orders there was a officer, and I say that with air quotes because officers get to do things that nobody else can do for some reason.
Yeah.
Who drove down his Ford F-350 with a giant camper trailer on the back.
It's a great idea.
Like a pop-up camper. And nobody had a problem with that.
I seriously, and this is just an on-the-spot moment, that would be a great way to deploy soldiers into combat. Everyone just truck
bunch of rednecks and Ford F-350s.
You just plunk right down, you go fight, you come back, you get your shower. Life is good.
Let me tell you something about the new Dodges. I had the opportunity to sit in an $84,000 Dodge Ram 2500.
Uh-huh.
And this person, who shall remain unnamed, pressed a button, and it blew air-conditioned air through the seat onto my ass.
Yes.
And I was like, dude, I totally get why you paid the $30,000 premium. Because I want to sleep in this truck right now.
It is a thing. Now, so the reason the van life thing came up is because, I like doing things, and there are a lot of people involved with those things. And so I had to look into the world of transporting more than 7 people, which is this big.
Right.
This,
Way back in the day, we called them Momo wagons.
Right. Now, you can, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think you can still get some of the Suburbans that can seat up to 8.
That's why the old beat up excursions
Yeah.
diesel bring a premium nowadays.
Right. So I'm looking at vans online just for the hell of it, and I get a little excited because Nissan has a conversion van, and how many? Right. How many non-American conversion vans are there? So I look into this immediately. Right. So I look into it, and it looks great. Customer service was terrible. I messaged them. I'm like, do you sell this van with 4-wheel drive, and what is its tow capacity? They're like, if you can send your phone number and email, we'll get someone in the sales staff. And I'm like, I'm okay with this if you can tell me it exists. They're like, well, we need to get someone in the sales staff in contact with you. And I'm like, this is terrible customer service. They're like, oh, we're sorry. Let us know if we can make it better for you. And I'm like,
yeah, just tell me if you have all-wheel drive, you piece of crap.
Right. So I get in contact with a good friend who tells me that Ford does.
Yeah.
And they do.
They also make a bangin' 4-banger right now.
They do not have the 4-cylinder available in those vans.
No.
They have the EcoBoost and the non-EcoBoost, like PDBI or whatever the heck they wanted to term it. And the discussion is, of course, okay, so yeah, the tow capacity is a little bit low at 4,700. It does have all-wheel drive, but it costs 1/3 of the only other option, which is a Mercedes-Benz.
Right, exactly. Or if you can find it, the Dodge, which is essentially the Mercedes-Benz.
It's still probably going to be expensive.
Yeah.
So, of course, what did this lead me to do, Shawn?
What?
Look into ridiculous things, which was, of course, looking into the Mitsubishi passenger vans, which are available in other countries.
Right, but not here.
Okay. I actually messaged a dealer in Australia because you could get a Mitsubishi passenger van with a 2.0 diesel 4-cylinder.
Right.
Which can pull and seat people for 42,000 Australian dollars.
Right.
Which are worth,
I was going to say,
0.77 US dollars. So that's a vehicle on a 23%. Covers.
You can't import it and register it, dude.
Yeah.
So, you have to be like beyond 20 or 25 years.
Yeah.
That's why all these right-hand drive Skylines are showing up in Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh. And that was part of the other fun. I would love to get pulled over in a right-hand drive vehicle. Just have that cop have to come
They've come up to the wrong side of the vehicle, mate. It's my woman right there.
That's my Sheila.
It's my Sheila.
Okay. I gotta hit the... That's fun. I gotta hit Colonel Sutherland. Our recurring character is a wonderful man. It is, of course, Memorial Day. And for those of you who don't know, once again, the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day is Memorial Day, you thank someone who isn't still alive. Veterans Day, you thank someone who is alive.
Which is really hard.
Right.
You have to go yell at their gravestone.
Yeah.
Thank you! Don't know if he heard me.
I would like to submit that dark humor is the best kind of humor. That being said, old Colonel Sutherland, great man that he is, fires off a thing. I tell him, a happy birthday, Dad, but I tell him happy birthday, and he says, thank you for your service, which is hilarious because, of course, it's Memorial Day, and he said, to tour combat veteran. And I respond to him. I said, Dad, how many humanitarian aid missions do I still have to do to equal 2 combat tours?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're still doing good.
You're welcome for my service, old man.
So I have to finish my degree. I have to get my commission. I mean, I've got what, like a maximum of...
And then be a medical officer who never sees combat? Like...
Correct. I need to save like an Elon Musk, which is the fantasy that I have with Sam. I'm hoping I can save Elon Musk's life someday, and he'll be like, is there anything I can do for you? $1 million, whatever. I'll be like, actually, just give my son a job. How awesome would that be if I could leverage that into employment for Sam?
Well, little David, let me tell you about Daddy's third tour at Walter Reed. A lot of ingrown toenails. A lot of syphilis.
It's true.
Syphilis as far as the eye can see.
Absolutely. Okay, now I hope that you are... Okay, a couple of things real quick. Before I forget, thank you, troll, for trying to troll. I appreciate you being a troll. Because our numbers are so low, after you trolled, our viewership went up 25%.
I don't know who you are, but thank you, person with an opinion.
So, if you
may or may not be negative, it's so hard to tell from a lol.
Lols. So, I know who you are. I know you're a troll. I know everything. So please participate. Actually, we welcome everyone in this participatory.
Yeah, troll the shit out of us. Like,
troll away. All people welcome.
Who cares?
You have a good time.
Life is short.
Uh-huh. Now, I finally... Okay, I got to get... I'm covering a couple of... We're going to get to... For those of you who followed this because of a hashtag and are waiting for us to talk about 556 versus 762, we're going to get to that. All right, relax. Put your pants back up. Excuse me. I need to talk about country music, Shawn. I finally figured out why it sucks. Did I tell you I figured out why it sucks?
I don't know, but there's no fast forward version. There's no fast forward button on this Skype. Can we just... I'm clicking on you. Country music sucks because it's all the fucking... Country music blows because it's all the same shit nowadays.
It is, but I have a solid reason why this happened, and it's going to make a lot of sense, okay? Stick with me on this. What is the number one demographic of country music?
You want me to pick a race?
Ha! I'm gonna be real specific.
I'm gonna say it's white folk.
It is specifically a section of the population who are very fond of evangelical Christianity.
What?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, you took a hard left there.
Yeah. No, it's a hard right.
Okay.
It's a good time. Okay. But seriously,
evangelicals.
We got our spirit finger group, right? Okay. You with me?
Right.
Okay. Maybe the most prominent feature of any evangelical church is the pastor talking about how terrible his life was every damn week until he found Jesus and turned it around. And he will highlight all of the drugs that he did, all of the arrests, all of the stuff, right?
Yes.
That's number one. But the number two, the worship band.
Okay.
Who are terrible.
Usually.
Universally. Shawn? Creed, the world's most famous Christian band, did not get started as a worship band. Worship bands are universally terrible. Okay?
Okay.
You see where this formula is going?
Yes.
When you are raised with that being your standard for rock and roll, country music is fire. Does it make sense now?
Not really, but I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
I appreciate you anyway.
Okay, yeah, I'm not putting the 2 and 2 together, but I appreciate your thought process. Hey, that's science, right? The epitome of science is fuck around and find out.
That's
so
right.
let's. I like how you're trying to connect A and B. Also, tell Sam to open his sodas more quietly.
Okay, I will. He's a good no.
I can't hear what I do, and you can't hear what you do.
It's all right. Okay, so scientists have calculated the maximum possible age a human can reach. This made me sad. Would you like to take a guess, Shawn?
Actually, I read this article, and they said that the maximum was these nuts.
Ah, close.
No, I didn't actually even click on the article. I tried to, and then Google News was like, "You don't want to know this. Let me just freeze up."
Okay, so the minimum expectation is 125 years, maximum 150, right? Okay. Which upsets me because that means I'm not even a third the way there, Shawn.
I'm in a lot of pain right now. I can't do 150. I can't.
What is we've seen our people hit the triple digits, and they do not look like in another 50 years they're going to have.
No, they don't look like they're like, I got another 40 to go.
I don't
just pulling out that last third of my life.
There are not enough antioxidants in the world. There simply is not.
So the secret to my life is chlorophyll and 18 hours of sleep a day. You can't.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a hard fast forward. That's much as I love sleep. You know what? Okay, ethically speaking, when we talk about the idea of like putting like the Black Mirror stuff, putting old folks into a virtual world when, you know, they're at okay, what's the difference between being plugged into the Matrix and sleeping?
Well, I mean, really, it's just lucid dreaming, right?
Right. So when I get there, yeah, I'm gonna go through the playlist of all of the Resident Evil games first.
I like that idea. I'm gonna play the new Subnautica Below Zero.
Yeah.
To that, yeah.
Maybe that'll be the time that I can finally pretend that I did something.
Swiping on some smoking hot chicks, and he's 136 and still ready to party. And they're like, well, your avatar's pretty hot, so.
Oh no.
Jessica Alba 626, here I come.
Oof. Oof. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of washed up celebrities on there. Who am I gonna catch up with?
Ian McKellen.
No, he will not. No, is he not dead yet?
He's frozen. We'll upload him.
He's already plugged into the Matrix.
Oh, no.
Golly, that guy. He didn't even hunt like Nazis like Christopher Lee did he? How is he staying alive so long?
I don't know. That is the secret, right? All the people who are living to very old ages have stolen the life power of Nazis.
Pretty much.
Right? I mean, that's the key. So I think what I'm trying to tell all of our listeners is go find a neo-Nazi and kill them, and you will steal their life powers.
Be very careful about your definition of neo-Nazi. Don't do the Antifa thing.
Oh yeah, no. Or and one, don't kill neo-Nazis. That was a joke. Two, don't kill Neo Geos. There's not a whole lot of them left.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but
oh no, I've offended the neo-Nazi community.
No, I am here to say, if you find a genuine neo-Nazi, genuine, I'm saying you catch this person in the act of lynching, real neo-Nazi, go right ahead, please. I want to see you reload.
This is going to come up in 8 years at somebody's trial, and I'm sure it's going to be mine.
That's what I'm saying. That is technically the legal definition
you know what? Can I be honest with you? Yeah, that's the problem with nowadays. You can't say anything because they hold it against you. Hey, if you're a racist piece of shit,
and
somebody stomps your teeth in, You probably deserved it.
You had it coming. If this comes up in 20 years and someone tries to, I want to be clear. The act of lynching is a violent act that is almost 100% certain to produce the death of someone. And that is legally one of the few times that any citizen is allowed to use lethal force. It is to prevent the severe physical harm, death, or sexual violence on another person. So yes, anyone who wants to come at me, if you catch a neo-Nazi in the act of lynching someone, stop that shiz.
Right. Now, here's the opposite.
Get me.
If you see something happening like a David lynching where he's making Dune, just let him do it.
That's a good movie. That's not.
Full circle, baby.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay.
David, I told you
yes.
that I'm going to start writing erotic fiction, right?
I love that you brought that up as I was like caressing the head of my mic.
All right.
Perfect timing.
Tom Clancy wrote a lot of good books. I really think they could use a revamp.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking this today as I was on like hour 3 of The Sum of All Fears, where it's basically just our protagonist trying to get wet. So I'm going to go in order from his 1984 book, and I'm going to rewrite them all as erotic fiction.
Anyone who's listening to this point in the show, you need to comment now if you want this to be a real thing, and we will hold Shawn accountable. I don't copyright laws. He might not be able to make any money off of it.
Contancy's A Hunt for Head in October.
Yes. What else do you have on deck? Give me a couple of... What else do you have on deck? Give me a couple of other ones.
The Come in All Ears.
I'm so... Mom, Dad, if you're listening to the podcast at this point, this is funny, but I'm sorry. It's hilarious. I'm sorry.
He had one called The Bear and the Dragon. Not even going to bother. Just going to leave it Bear and Dragon. And I just want to let everybody know I'm not going to like isolate this to like the straight community. So we're going to do a homoerotic thriller.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be called A Queer and Present Ranger. I haven't decided if the protagonist is in park forestry or is possibly a beat up Ford pickup, because I don't know what people are into nowadays. But
I see. It was surprisingly, the brawny man still doesn't have his beard back. So those have been back in for a while, and so yeah.
So I'm going to start with those, but I'm trying to do it in order, starting with a erotic version of The Hunt for Red October.
I know that you're a man with a little time on your hands, and I know that you multitask a great deal.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, don't get caught writing these at work. But if you do, I look forward to seeing you in the news, because that's going to be fire. Local man terminated from...
How come it's always local man? It's not regional man.
Because they're not living the van life, Shawn.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
man with 5 different states of locale. Found writing erotic thrillers. Also sued by Tom Clancy estate.
Tom Clancy estate, if you're listening, I guarantee we are not the first, nor will we be the last. Get to work.
Yeah. Also, hey, when you guys did Without Remorse, kudos to you. Not really anything like the character in the books. So,
no.
Pew pew.
Just like, well, wait a second. Hold on a second. What?
John Clark is not the John Clark in that movie.
No. Tom Cruise was in a Clancy movie that was...
Hey, excuse me?
No, I think we're going to move on. I know that we have maybe 2 gun enthusiasts who have listened to the podcast to this point with bated breath to find out the debate between 5.56 and 7.62.
Yep.
Take it away, Shawn.
Both will kill you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now, okay. So correct. I want to be really clear. All
They
y'all
will kill
people.
you in slightly different ways.
Slightly different ways. So, okay. Let me get to the point. Let me get to a couple of points here. Okay. We have a critical thinking module in my nursing school where we're learning how to detach our emotions from things and think logically. This is really important lessons right now because this is a good time to emphasize 5.56 and 7.62 are tools. Nearly every physical object that you get is a tool for a specific purpose. If you want to do what the 5.56 does, the 7.62 is not superior in that case. If you want what the 7.62 does, then the 5.56 is not superior. What's the big difference between the two, Shawn?
The size of the round.
Thank you. Which one is generally more lethal?
Well, it's the 5.56 just due to its extended use.
Okay, now you're speaking statistically. I'm going to take the argument that the...
Which one, if you get hit with, are you less likely to survive?
Yes.
7.62.
Perfect, thank you. I was going to walk you into there, but then you found your way. Okay. Therefore, the 7.62 is the most likely to win wars, right?
It is the most likely to cause the most amount of damage because as much as you would love to think that the 5.56 reigns supreme, most of the heavy weapons are 30 caliber or above.
So
they're not spitting 5.56 out of the minigun on the side of the Blackhawk, kids.
Correct.
They're spitting 30 cal or above.
Now to get to the point, to get to the monkey. All right. You fire a 7.62 at someone. You kill them. How many people have you taken off the battlefield?
Oh, are we going to do this?
Yeah. Sorry. You know what? Sorry. It's got to happen.
So we're going back to the Viet Cong, wound them and let their buddies come in and get them, right?
That's the idea behind it, yes.
Okay. The idea is that you don't take people off the battlefield by killing them. You take people off the battlefield by occupying combatants.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can wound someone and occupy someone else or 2 other people to try to rescue them, I've taken 3 people off the battlefield.
Correct. Now, to that point, this did not work in the global war on terror.
No, because there's a lot of people to shoot.
And they don't particularly care. It's not like we were fighting an industrialized nation.
No, when you're fighting a bunch of individual fighters that maybe just met that morning, they don't really care. Like, I'm hurt. Well, that sucks.
No. So that being said, the funny part is we instituted the 5.56 under a true principle at a time when we did not have any wars anymore that it would be useful for.
Right. Caring is caring. Sharing is caring. Share the pain amongst a bunch of people. Listen, it's a lethal round.
Correct.
There's no doubt about that. It is a lethal round, and you can carry a lot more of it.
Heck yeah.
And this wasn't necessarily instituted because of the whole wounding philosophy. It was instituted because of the accuracy philosophy.
Correct.
And if you read On Combat or On Killing by Lieutenant Grossman, you'll learn real quick that after the Vietnam War, they did studies that said, we're not hitting most of what we're shooting at. So the more ammo you have, the more likely you are to hit something. And that's where designs like the Spew the SPEW program where we were talking about shooting flechettes or shooting 3 rounds per trigger pull to increase hitting a target came into play. The 5.56 does not exist because it is a superior round in any means. It exists because it was lighter and we could give people more ammo to just spray down shit and hopefully hit something.
So, of course, that's the irony of the 5.56. Because that's true as well. Absolutely true. It is a laser gun, and it actually defeats armor pretty well as well. It penetrates pretty well. But let's get to the point. The point, of course, is that now that we're planning for a near-peer threat, and there's, a chance that we could be up against a nation that we could defeat using the principle of wound rather than kill. Now we're looking at replacing the 5.56.
Right. You're looking at replacing it with a different round. Now, I own both.
Yes.
I own an M1A and an AR-15. I am very good with both. If I had to carry one for an extended period of time with a bunch of ammo, I would go with the AR-15. Because carrying the M1A is like carrying a boat anchor. It is massive. I can show them both to you right now. It is like carrying a steel I-beam.
It's huge. Yes.
Yeah, it's a
it's
massive
too big for me. Yeah.
Even if it's CQB. The difference is with that weapon with an optic, I can reach out and I can start hurting people's feelings at ranges that honestly aren't that great for 5.56. The other thing you have to keep in mind, no matter what round they decide to adopt, is that most studies have shown if you were talking about wounding or killing potential, it's not necessarily the caliber, it's the speed. We reach a certain speed where, regardless of the size of that round, the energy impacted upon a target or a soft target, like a human being, is so destructive that the size of the round doesn't matter when we start talking about cavitation, things like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's really speed that matters.
And if you need a real life example of this, you need only to look at the electromagnetic railguns that we developed like 30, 40 years ago. It's not new technology, but we learned that you could just throw a metal rod ridiculously fast and you will turn a tank inside out.
Right. The problem is the wear and tear on that piece of equipment is just now why they're mounting it on ships. Because you cannot exude that amount of energy without some type of, you got to pay some type of bill to the universe. So it's well very said. Hard to do that. You have to put this thing on a warship that is capable of powering it, most likely with a nuclear power plant. This is a lot of energy going out. So, it's my father. Here's one of my biggest drawback to the AR-15, this 5.56 versus whatever debate. I've never had an M1A fail because it is a heavy, sloppy, nasty design meant to function. And I have had AR-15s fail because they just don't feel like playing nice today.
Right.
So they've been updated. Obviously, they have M4 systems now with M4 feed ramps, and they have short block, blah, 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 yakety schmackities. But when it comes down to it, at this point, that design that the 5.56 was developed for and has become so popular for, it's kind of outdated.
So we're looking forward to, we've mentioned it in previous podcasts, I'm looking forward to the 6.7 is supposedly what's on deck. 6.7 millimeter.
6.5 is the new accepted long-range rifle round
for
the U.S. military, as far as I know.
So they adjusted the size a little bit.
Yeah, I believe it's 6.5, or you're right, 6.7. We currently shoot 6.5 Creedmoor, which we repeatedly can shoot out to a mile accurately. Is a very
spectacular,
fast, angry round.
Mm-hmm.
It's very unhappy.
Which would be great. Of course, they're saying that all we have to do is switch out the uppers on the existing rifles and we can fire, which is wonderful.
Right, which is, once again, why you're trying to get it. That's why 300 Blackout, 50 Beowulf, and all these things. As long as you can get it to fit into an existing Stanag magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that little magazine you see on the AR-15s, and then all the other nations that use HK-416s or whatever, they all use what's called a Stanag mag.
Mm-hmm.
Stanag. Because the other problem is you have to be fucking approved by NATO.
Which requires French people.
Yes. And you know what? If you're French, you guys kicked ass in battle for like ever. So as many people as make fun of you, you can kick some people's shit in. So I'm not too concerned
until
about that.
something Waterloo.
My dad asked me, he goes, have you heard about the French Foreign Legion? I was like, yeah, aren't they awesome? I could go right now, join the French Foreign Legion. They would just teach me French, have me serve for 4 years or whatever. And if I survived, I'd get a completely new persona. They're like, congratulations, you are French now. Here's a new name. They don't care if you're a convict. They don't care if you're a meth head. The French don't screw around. They're like, we have our own mercenary.
So, why haven't they won a war since Waterloo?
I don't know. Have they tried to win a war since Waterloo?
Yeah.
Oh.
Something Germans twice?
Something Germans twice? I don't care how good you are. When you look out at the battlefield, you're like, there are a shitload of those Anglo-German people.
They built a wall, Shawn.
Oh, yes. That's worked out so well for everyone who's tried it.
And they went, it worked for the Chinese. For the Germans, it was drive around.
But you're right. A man who believed in the occult.
Like, right, but
how do you beat a crazy person?
You get crazier. But you're right. The joke about them all being Germans is like they still had the World War I mindset that everything was built around the infantry. So you had your big infantry units set up, and then you had like 1 or 2 tanks sent to each infantry unit, to keep the infantry safe from the other tanks. And then the Germans do full armored divisions rolling in.
Hans, I have an idea. I want you to bear with me. Okay. You know how we only have like 1 tank and a lot of squishy people? What if we just had no squishy people and then a lot of tanks? Okay, so we do the same thing we were doing before, right? We move it like 3 or 4 miles an hour, very slowly supporting. No. We go in fast as fucking possible. If we just start blowing shit up. Jesus Christ, Hans. This is crazy.
And it worked.
Yeah. So, the first time it worked, Hans was like, see, I told you.
So I guess I'm here to say, I apologize to you French people. You really had the deck stacked against you.
Yeah, when people are just trying crazy shit every day.
Maybe they're awesome now. I don't know.
Mein Führer, we believe that the Air Force is what's the key to the wars. No, lots of tanks!
Well, and a pile of rockets. Good for them and all them rockets.
Mein Führer, we could simply fly over there and drop the bomb. No! We will shoot them from giant ramps on the mountainside!
What was the biggest cannon that they had designed? They designed a cannon to shoot over the British Channel, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was like 2 millimeters smaller than Hitler's ego. So,
this being the full circle episode and Memorial Day, that is the full-scale war version of if you find an actual Nazi committing actual crimes, On the personal level, you are allowed to end that with reloading levels of violence. Because on the global level, we did the largest amphibious assault in history in order to stop that shiz.
I got an idea. You know how there's a shitload of guns, barbed wire, stuff on these beaches? What if we just throw a bunch of humans at it?
Like a lot, all of them.
Wait, this is your plan? Yeah. But get this. We're going to drop a dead guy in the ocean with fake documents to totes throw him off. We'll talk about that in the next podcast.
You still have Patton's number, right?
Yeah. This will work out just fine, boys.
I will make a note of that right now on my flipping college notes.
Hey, so by the way, I'm not making light of that. That took a lot of guts. And it
did.
For them to tell these people, hey, you're going to go onto this beach against overwhelming odds, but these people are giant pieces of shit, and we really need them to stop. And a bunch of people were like, yeah, sure, cool. Awesome.
It was a totally different mindset. It was an interesting thing because we are old enough to remember 9/11, and I remember for about a week, I thought we had that mindset because, like, the country was attacked, and there's a bunch of people like, I'll go sign up tomorrow. And then how many of them actually did?
Yeah, not many. When it hit me is I was sitting in dispatch, like working a midnight shift. And I think I was working Channel 1, which is like the channel that you go to when you're on a traffic stop and you're like, Control, copy 1128, 1129, last name, date of birth. It was like 12:15 in the morning, and you hear this dweedle, and it's like, dweedle, dweedle, dweedle. The United States is now officially declared war. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, okay.
That's how that happened?
Yeah, that's how I knew. I was like, wow. Oh, okay. We're at war now. I don't know how this affects me personally. Like Tom 328, I know you're on a traffic stop, but were you aware we're at war? I don't. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's a different mindset. Is I got to stop the bad guy. I got to stop the bad guy. Nowadays, all the people who are gung ho are storming the Capitol, and then they're coming out with plea deals because they decided to put their feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Like, is all the hard people in this country seem incredibly soft comparatively.
Correct.
To like the true heroes of our society. And by the way, drinking beer all day and getting trashed and having a barbecue doesn't honor that memory. I don't know what makes you think that does. Yeah, even if you pour one out for your homie from WW2.
The big thing is, I don't want to say this sincerely. The big thing is, in terms of remembering, right? I think the biggest part of remembering is a consideration of culture. It is a consideration of what kind of culture drives that person to do that. And do we still have that culture? And if not, why?
We don't have that culture anymore because we don't have a good foreign enemy.
We don't know, and honestly, I don't know that it's necessarily that big. We've talked about before about how we're a nation of warriors without a war, and that's true, Shawn. That's 100% true. And there's two things that I'm thinking about the culture issue is that, number one, everything is subjective now. Everything is subjective now. Everything is subjective. Your truth is your truth.
I had a customer the other day. He was like, do you think we stole this land from people? And I was like, hey, cool. Nice to meet you. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What? He's like, well, everybody's all PC now. We're the greatest country in America. They keep wanting to say we stole this country from other people. And I'm like, what?
It is not. And to be fair, that point of everything being subjective is not a problem either. It's just a point of the culture that, yeah, everything can be subjective. Reality is subjective. That's fine. I can roll with that. But we also don't have each other's backs.
Hey, by the way,
Uh,
science is the closest we get to the handwriting of God. Your reality is not fucking subjective.
Thank you. Perception is reality. Just to clarify. Yes.
Okay.
So we don't have a thing now because everything is so subjective and because we believe everything is so important. We now have this idea that our subjective interpretation of everything is more important than your neighbor. Spoiler alert, it is not.
No.
Your neighbor is a human being, your ideologies are not.
And in the first time you believe you are right, you are probably wrong. Because when you assume you have collected all the information necessary on a subject and you think you're right, you've actually just scratched the surface of a subject.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So whenever you are like, I am right, you kind of got to step back and go, yeah, am I?
Yeah.
Am I, though?
Right.
The understanding of subject runs in a curve. I can't remember what the name of that curve is.
I don't know. We'll have to look that up.
It is I learn the subject, I know everything about the subject, and then I realize I really know nothing about the subject.
Correct.
And most people get to this point.
And as a result, we get arrogant, we get narcissistic.
You get narcissistic.
Oh my God.
And then you get somebody with their head in a donkey telling you you're not a narcissist because you're a narcissist. It's not a joke. The profile photo had the person's head in a donkey. I don't know who this person is. Once again, I don't know who you are.
I do.
I can't even remember your name. I'm just going to call you Donkey Cutout. I'm going to call our first troll Donkey.
To the point, and to the point of the troll, this is a great example. You can be the sort of person who takes unjustified action to try to directly cause harm in my life and the lives of my family. And that doesn't change the fact that I acknowledge that you're a human being. On certain things, you're a bit confused. Your motivations are a bit off. But you're still a human being. And we need to get back to the world where you can believe what you want, and I will fight right next to you for your right to have those beliefs.
I will defend to the death your right to say it, sir.
Right. Yes. Thank you. So.
Except on Facebook.
Except on Facebook.
Because that's private. That has nothing to do with your rights and liberties.
Nobody ever got banned on MySpace.
No.
Just saying.
Tom was chill, dude.
Tom was great. He was everyone's friend.
I'm your first friend, bro.
Yes.
Let's go, man. You want to put some background music on this? How about some Blink 182 and some flashing black background? It's gonna be awesome.
Golly, could you imagine what that would have turned into with modern bandwidth? Imagine tiles of TikToks all around the frame of your screen.
I don't know. You know what we should do? Give me a second here. I know we don't have a lot of time left. Shawn,
we're almost out there,
Cahill, MySpace.
Oh my gosh, is it still there? Tell me it's there. Tell me.
That's not me.
But there's still MySpace listings coming up?
Some of them, yeah.
By the way, for anyone listening at this point, this is Shawn being a producer right now. Producers, they're the people who sit and research things.
I don't think my MySpace exists anymore.
Oh. That's a shame and a half.
Sorry. This is me producing. Yeah. Also, I don't understand. Okay, your troll comment was,
yes.
I don't know. There was a lull after it, so it was like commentary, and like that was okay, cool. But people who are like, I don't agree with this video. I'm gonna write my dissertation. What kind of time do you people have? Like, Like the comment was like, and hey, whoever you are, like I said, Dave knows you. I don't. I'm not ripping on you. Like your comment was short and it had a lol and whatever. But when I read a comment, it's like, oh, it's broken into paragraphs. Okay, what? Who are you? Like, there might be one person on this video as well. Oh, let me explain to you what Eugene Stoner's ideology was behind the AR-10 and blah blah blah. Yeah, I've read the book. Like, I don't care. Shut up. Like, who are you? Who is like, honey, I know we had dinner plans at 7:30. But I fucking have to write a retort to this asshole's YouTube video.
They don't have honeys, Shawn.
I'm assuming not. Like, I don't know. What are you doing? Have a hobby. You could go buy a bandsaw on Craigslist. Have you tried woodworking?
By the way, okay, we got to wrap this up real quick, but I just want to say that a great friend of mine has bemoaned the fact that she is just hungry to shoot and it is too damn expensive. And I'm like, congratulations for having your first ridiculously expensive hobby.
Yes, Smalley. No, I don't. I don't think it's Jessica.
No, but now the question remains.
Do I know this friend?
We're gonna. Okay, I'm making notes for the next.
We're gonna talk offline after we hang up, but yeah.
A little bit. In fact, I got to see if I can stop recording in just a second here. But I'm making a note. Next podcast, we need to make a comparison of which is more expensive, golfing or shooting.
If you reload, it's golfing.
I'm Shawn. Are the dollars spent the only measure of cost?
No, time.
You see what I'm saying? We're going to get into this. Not right now, though. We're out of time. Any final remarks, Shawn?
No.
Okay. You're a beautiful man.
I got nothing.
I'd like to thank you for this. Anyone who viewed to this point, a special thanks to you. Please troll us.
Yeah. Hey, troll, if you're out there, it's just nice being acknowledged. Thanks.
That's beautiful. All right. And good night.